Okay, so as you can tell by the crickets in the background, we're out in the barn. And today we're going to talk about the Worksaver Grapple here. And this is a, focus here, this is the FLGR-4062S Compact Grapple. And by compact they mean it's the 60-inch or 5-foot wide grapple. So let's start off with some structural differences you'll find between the grapples, and that is basically the number of grips or claws or tines or whatever you want to call them. This one has 5 on the bottom, and unfortunately I needed a grapple immediately in order for me to get a tractor. That's the main thing I needed a tractor for. This was an immediate purchase. The Land Pride grapple that Kubota recommends was back ordered and had been back ordered for months up here. So just to kind of give you the rear view here, this is what it looks like from the back side. Obviously you have to have a third function for the hydraulics, but as you can see, there's 3, I'll call them claws or grips on the front bar or front of the grapple, and there's 5 on the bottom. And it is heavy-duty construction. The grapple itself weighs about 345 pounds, but you'll notice the gaps between here. So unless you're doing real heavy logs or very thick material, don't expect to be able to pick it up with this. I had huge logs, firewood that needed to be moved and cut. This will pick up brush if it's bulky enough to fit, but anything like if you're going to go pick up cut firewood or something, this is not going to work. And basically your upper portion stops at 3. It doesn't come all the way across to the 5th on either corner, so you're losing all of the space. This here is just mainly to support whatever is within these 3. That was a downside for me. I went to go try and pick up some cut firewood, bulk, and 95% of it fell out in the spacing between the grapples. So, not a good thing. Alright, so to also make note, this uses the skid plate connection on the grapple as well. So think about that when you have your tractor set up. You may have to get an adapter in order to fit on this. Now, this particular grapple also comes with these 2 rings here. And I have no idea what those are for. So I am using them for my kickstand. Now, this is the other thing that's very important. This grapple does not come with a built-in kickstand setup, so in order for you to have it detached from your tractor, you have to have a stand of some sort. This will not just fit on a pallet because it wants to fall over. There's nothing behind it. If you look at the structural design of this thing, it's sitting on the front hooks, grapple, whatever, at an angle, and it's only on the very tip. So when that lays back, it actually leans back, so you wouldn't be able to get this up without it being assisted forward. You wouldn't be able to get your tractor back here to get that up. So what I did is I used these 2 mystery rings and put a piece of I think it's 1 1/4 inch galvanized pipe to a base plate down here. I drilled a hole and put a hitch pin in through there underneath this first ring. Then I noticed that wasn't going to be enough to support this all the way across, so I have a jack stand on this side up underneath holding it up, and it's pretty solid. It's not going to go anywhere. But I would recommend keeping your kids and stuff away from this just in case. So those are my complaints about this. As far as work Worksaver themselves. Sorry about that. As far as Worksaver as a company, I'm not impressed. I have to say, I've tried contacting customer support for a couple reasons. One, to find out what these rings are for, because there's no information on their website. There's no information in any of the literature that came with the Grapple. There is basically no support. There is no anybody. I've called, I've sent them emails, no response. Not just about those rings, but also in order to place an order to get the kickstands that they make. That's an optional accessory for this Grapple. No response. I guess they don't want my money, because I'd much rather use their product designed for the Grapple than having to custom make something myself. I've contacted distributors. Nobody has responded to me. So, with that said, Worksaver as a company, I'm not impressed. I won't be going back to them for any more products, simply because there's no customer support. And like I said, I forked over the money for this only because this was already on a machine at the tractor dealer that I went to, and it was my only option in order to get a Grapple on delivery of the tractor. It's working so far. It works good. I don't have any complaints, with the exception of what I've already mentioned. So if you're looking at Worksaver Grapples, because I can only speak to Grapples and the customer support or lack thereof, you might want to look at a different brand, something maybe a little bit more reputable. I won't make any comments as to who, but as far as the product, this particular one is working right now for what I need. It's not to my expectations. So, hope you learned something. I hate giving negative reviews, and I guess I would call this a negative review because it seems like there's more complaints than there are positives. But you know, it's just something that everybody needs to be aware of. All right. Well, hope you learned something, and as always, on to the next.